Gold Striker is the phenomenal wooden roller coaster located at California's Great America in Santa Clara, California. And here's why I think it's the best wooden roller coaster in the state of California. Yes, I think it's better than GhostRider, but we'll get to that a little later. Without further ado, this is my review of Gold Striker. The first thing that makes Gold Striker so good is the amazing ride experience. So let's dissect the layout, element by element. First, Gold Striker has a few turns before heading up the 108-foot tall lift, giving a great view of the front of the park and Levi's Stadium off to your right. After you crest the top of the lift, you head down the amazing 103-foot enclosed first drop. This drop gives a ton of floater airtime and is definitely a standout moment on the ride. Next, Gold Striker turns to the right and drops down before snapping to the left into one of my favorite moments on the ride, this amazing airtime hill. This airtime hill has tons of floater airtime and a few great hand chopper moments with the supports above you. Next, you rise up and turn to the right before dropping down to the left. Then, you continue turning left and head up a sideways airtime hill before rising up and dropping to the right, then snapping to the left and dropping a little more. Next, you have one more sideways airtime hill before rising to the right and snapping to the left into this large bank turn. After this, you have a short right turn before a sharp drop to your right. Finally, you continue turning right with a few short pops of airtime before snapping left, having another few short pops of airtime, then turning left into the brake run. And that ends your 3,197 foot long journey on Gold Striker. This category needs to be brought up whenever we are discussing wooden roller coasters, and especially in the case of Gold Striker, which I'd heard rumors of not being the smoothest. However, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how smooth Gold Striker ran. Now don't get me wrong, Gold Striker is not glass smooth by any standards, but it is definitely tolerable in the first few rows. Now, as soon as you start to migrate towards the back of the train, the shakiness gets significantly worse. But I will say, the ride experience in the back is a little bit more intense, so the trade-off can be worth it depending on who you ask. Personally, I enjoy the smoother experience of the front, and actually think the airtime is a little bit better there. But that's for you to decide. Gold Striker features the Millennium Flyer trains from Great Coasters International, the same ones featured on GhostRider. These trains are relatively standard, the lap bars are okay, and the seats aren't too much of a hassle to get into. One thing I will say though, is that the padding on the seats definitely does help mitigate the roughness. Overall, these trains are pretty decent, and don't take away from the ride experience at all. Gold Striker doesn't have much in the way of theming, but I do actually really like how good the presentation of the ride is. I don't know exactly what it is, but this ride just looks really nice, especially with all the pine trees and wood grain signs. The big question on my mind going into my CGA trip was, is Gold Striker going to be better than the other well-known wooden roller coaster in California, GhostRider at Knott's Berry Farm? And while I know this is a hot take, I think it might just be better. They both have different elements that make them different from each other. For instance, while I think Gold Striker has more pronounced airtime and laterals, GhostRider is considerably longer and has better standout moments. But I think the sheer intensity and airtime on Gold Striker makes it the better coaster. It could just be recency bias, but I really do think that NorCal's Best really outshines its southern sister coaster. Gold Striker is an amazing wooden roller coaster, and it skyrocketed into my overall top 10 within just a few rides. And I really do think that it is the best wooden roller coaster in the state. And that is going to do it for my full review of Gold Striker. If you made it this far and enjoyed the video, maybe consider subscribing. Also, if you want to see my experience at theme parks, be sure to follow my Instagram in the link below. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.